Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name's Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube, and I use spirits and my intuition, the tarot, to communicate energies to you guys, amazing viewer. Today I won't be using any tarot, but I will be communicating from the divine exactly what's going on here with the Twin Flame Collective. So I'm not going to get into what twin flames are and yada yada yada. I'm just going to hit home some information here that you can take away. If it resonates with your intuition, great. Always use your own intuition over anyone else's sort of theory or reading or whatever, okay? So this is going to cover a broad range. Hopefully I can make more videos if you guys want to get into any area. So I'll try to be sort of more systematic in my video so that we can keep certain information pertaining to certain areas together so it makes sense, and I could put a timestamp and you could come back and click on the timestamp to find that information if you're ever feeling like you need to build that energy within yourself. So number one, all twin flame journeys are completely different. So nobody anywhere knows more than you, okay? Yes, they could tell you historically what has happened and what twin flames are and all of this stuff, okay? And that's good. Don't feel bad for wanting information, okay? We all want information. We're creatures of habit. It makes us feel secure in ourselves, confident in what it is we're doing. Absolutely fine. However, this is a conditioning, okay? This is a conditioning over time for us to feel we need an external source to validate and confirm us, okay? This is what the twin flames are here to transcend. We're here to raise the vibration, okay, of planet Earth and new consciousness here. And so this includes very intuitive beings who are very self-reliant. And so tapping into that authentic place takes a lot of time, where you don't need anyone else's validation or confirmation, where you're not second guessing, although it takes a while. So if you beat yourself up, if you're stuck in, you know, I shouldn't need any of this because I'm on this twin flame journey, so this means I'm not a twin because my intuition's all fucked up. Our intuitions get all fucked up, okay? They get all fucked up, whether you're on twin flame journey or not. Usually there's big blocks, period, when there's generations and generations and generations of trauma, okay, and distortions and imbalances and conditioning through our upbringing, societal beliefs, cultural beliefs, all of this stuff, okay? This is what we're here to transcend. So when you're looking for information, do not judge yourself, although trust that you don't need that, okay? Trust you don't need that, because your journey is completely different and you're not going to find the exact thing that you're exactly needing. So there'll always be the search is on. Although you might find information that you didn't know, and it kind of puts you into perspective. So this is why we do it. Although you'll get to the point where you don't need any of that anymore, okay? But if you do not shame yourself. So that leads me to tarot, okay? People poo-poo tarot a lot, especially in the twin flame community, because it keeps us stuck on the divine masculine or stuck in the journey. And you guys know I do things really sort of different here when I read tarot. Although I mean, I'm not saying I'm completely unique in this perspective, but this isn't about keeping you stuck on a person. This isn't about saying that we need to do or be in a certain way in order for us to attain the person or get further ahead on the journey. My readings are solely about freeing you from suffering, okay? And so we're all on different stages. So some of us might literally be on the stage where we're needing to know more 3D type stuff in order for us to take this information, review it, observe it, and move to the next phase, okay? So this is difficult for people who understand, I guess, that being stuck in a pattern isn't helpful, and so they try to help the twin, you know, especially the divine feminine, by saying, take your energy off the divine masculine. Don't focus on the divine masculine. You're stuck because you're watching tarot and all of this stuff. And I'm not just saying this because I read tarot. Trust me, if you're done with tarot, you're done with tarot. Tarot connects you to the divine, okay? And so when we're on this journey, we are on the divine path. We're meant to connect to the divine, and maybe it's for the very, very first time, okay? So we're clearing blocks, distortions. And here's the divine communicating through tarot what it is we're needing to hear, okay? And sometimes we hear things we don't want to hear. Sometimes we need to rehear it many times for it to make sense. And sometimes we don't need to hear it because we're already connected. So to judge self in regards to saying, well, I'm still watching tarot, so I'm still, you know, I'm doing something wrong, or I'm still, this is why I'm stuck on my journey, or whatever mind speak we tell ourselves, because it's easy for someone who might have gone through the tarot phase and whatever, and then be on a different phase and say this was, you know, a further back phase. So if you want to ascend, you must sort of find a way to detach from this, which kind of makes sense, but not really. And I'll tell you why. I've been watching tarot. I've been doing tarot forever. So now when I see tarot, read tarot, connect to tarot, I'm really, really tapped into the divine. Okay. And so without this, I would feel completely lost in my journey. And not once has the tarot done anything bad for me. What it's done is sometimes when I feel stuck, and if I'm beating myself up about watching the tarot, which was very early on, you know, because I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be not focusing on the masculine. So now we're resisting something, or we're trying to change something, or we have an aversion to something. That's a shadow. Okay. So what the twin flame journey is doing is bringing all of our distortions, all of our shadows, all of our egos, whatever you want to call it. Okay. You want to call it shadow. You want to call it devil. You want to call it ego, evil. We are all connected to the divine. And so as divine beings, we all have the spark of Christ, okay? Extension of God. We are the creator inside of us, an extension of the creator. And through time, we've developed a whole shitload of distortions, okay? And so the sole purpose of the twins are to release, remove, transmute, really, the shadows, okay? The shadows and the distortions into light energy. So this is done through whatever means is right for you. I cannot tell you what it is. It could be constant tarot, and you're ascending. And for me, it was tarot. Tarot became my thing. I read tarot. I can communicate with the divine. I'm in communication with my twin. I'm ascending. I feel at peace. I feel samadhi most days. Sometimes I get triggered. Sometimes, you know, I'm falling into the human egoic way. Sometimes my mind gets in there. But for the most part, I find balance. I find peace. I didn't resist the tarot. The only time I tried to avoid or resist was when I was told that it's putting energy onto my masculine. Okay, and this doesn't mean constantly looking at, you know, how's your person feeling? How's your person feeling? Like, okay, well, it could be, because this is providing you with taking a look as an observer, you know, where are your addictions? What are you stuck on? And seeing this, not avoiding it, because one thing we hear when we're on this journey is always, don't focus on the divine masculine. I don't think that is right. Okay. I really don't think that is right. Yes, we shouldn't be externally trying to put our energy on them to attain or do anything outwardly. What we're supposed to really be doing, like I said, is transmuting distortions and energy. So when the twin is there, however the twin's a pain in the ass, the twin's in her life, the twin is in a third party, the twin has addictions, the twin is whatever, being rude, being nice, whatever the twin's doing. Doesn't really matter what the twin is doing. It's all about our own energy, okay, and how we connect. And so if we resist the twin, and I'm not going to look because I want to ascend, or because it's causing me feelings I've never had before, I don't know how to deal with it, it's easier to shut him out. Okay, I say him, it could be her, but generally the divine feminine's leading this journey. And so we need to really look at our behavior. Are we resisting, shutting out, blocking? Because that is usually the first instruction we get, right? Block that twin, remove them from social media. You know, cut them out. Don't talk to them. The more you do this, the more you're going to feel, it's not going to totally feel right, and you're only really creating more blocks. okay, and your journey might stall out here. Okay, unless of course you feel like that's the natural thing to do. And sometimes we feel that is the thing to do because we're so energetically charged that to detox from the twin is the best thing. It's like, I can't see them, I can't talk to them right now. Okay, now we need to know why we're feeling this, and this is where the work is done. Okay, anytime there's a trigger, anytime there's a feeling that comes from within us, that is the moment to do the work. Okay, so we can't do the work if we're constantly resisting. We're on hold, you know, and we can't do the work if we're constantly lusting after our twin and in some sort of like daydreamy energy. Can't do the work. Okay, so a twin comes and triggers us however the twin does, and this is what's unique for everyone, because our triggers and our traumas and our distortions are all completely different. So for some, it's like they really need to transcend past whatever addictions, okay, like addictive behaviors, like the twin. And so they come in with their strong addictions. And for the divine feminine, she might have abandonment wounds, you know, that are coming through in her own addiction to the twin and to this way of connecting, you know. So she needs to transcend that wound within her and that addiction to the twin here, the codependency within her, so that the twin can be mirrored back. Okay, but for others it could be other things that, you know, like third-party situations, you know, and it's learning about self-love and opening the heart space. And so in normal circumstances, most of you guys would never put yourselves in third-party situations, or most of you guys would never deal with an addict, or most of you guys would never do XYZ, right? And so here we are, world upside down. Like, what is all this, you know? And so it's in your face to deal with it for a reason, not to avoid and suppress it. Okay, so that's why it's all different, because their trauma is completely different. And so, you know, if let's say my twin was in a third-party situation, it might not trigger any sort of deep-seated traumas within me that are reflective there. It would just not do it. So the twin is your soul specifically reflected back to you to transmute these stuck energies, okay? And so sometimes the twin's completely removed and runs away, and so it creates the space for us to have to do whatever it is we need to do, however long, you know. And so one thing I always questioned was, because my twin has been consistently in my life, you know, and it was a blessing, but it was also very triggering, because for me it'd be just easier to say, I just need to cut you off and like not deal with this, you know, like, why are you here? I don't understand, or like, why you're here, or why you're here. And he's just always there, and that was triggering, and I had to transcend past that. Now when he just sends me whatever he's sending me, I don't get triggered in the same way, you know. I don't get triggered in the same way. I had to get there, but there was a whole period of time where I had to figure out what that looked like, where I'd block him and say, get away, like, I don't understand what you want. And then there were times I was like, okay, I'll be open and I'll try to read into this. And it was like this, you know, and God bless his soul, because he's thinking I'm like bipolar. He's like, why do you keep going? Why do you keep coming? And I'm like, am I the runner? Is he like, that was my trauma, because my way of dealing with things was very much flight or flight, because I had deep rooted traumas in my root chakra and in my sacral chakra, okay, from early childhood, where I never felt really safe. It was always fight or flight, always fight or flight. And so it's easy for me just to be reactionary, you know, reactionary. This is how I'm going to react. This is how I'm going to react. And I would do this, you know, in all areas of my life. And I could see this, and I was playing this out with him, you know, and so it was keeping me in suffering. And I just thought, man, I'm in suffering when he's beside me or with me. But when I looked at it and transmuted this energy in a way that made sense, he still remained doing what he was doing, but I no longer get the same charged energy there. Okay, so that's just an example of what comes up. So for some of you guys, the twin just fucked off. He just doesn't want anything to do with you. Okay, so as we know, if we are energetically pushing with our energy towards our twin, like trying to chase, they're going to pull away. Okay, so we have to look at our energy and say, how do I deal with this energy? Why am I chasing, you know? And so we don't then say, well, I'm just going to not think of my twin and do this polar opposite thing for the twin to come, because there's no work really being done here. There's no transmutation of energy. You know, it's like, okay, I'm chasing and I'm watching and I'm observing, and I'm not judging my chasing. Why am I chasing? What do I need? Has it been brought forward? What is it creating? What has it caused? You know, and then we start to get tired, or whatever starts to happen within us, naturally it will come. Your authentic self is going to come through the observation. Okay, so all you're really asked is to observe what you're doing. Okay, observe it and do not judge it. That's the thing. Okay, do not judge it. And then as we observe it, we have to really play like a devil's advocate with this, you know, and we start to really ask ourselves, because most likely a lot of what we're doing is based out of fear. Okay, we're trying to attain out of fear. It's conditioning. Okay, or we're trying to resist out of fear. Okay, so the fear we have to really look at, and we could mask it up and dress it up as whatever we want. I'm resisting because I don't want to send my twin energy. I'm so ascended. I'm like, I don't need to force them out. Meanwhile, I'm doing this out of fear. I'm like avoiding that discomfort with my twin and coming to me, and I don't know what to do with this energy, you know, and so it's easier to avoid and push it away. This is fear. Okay, same with, I'm trying to stay with my twin, although my twin might be creating all sorts of havoc here. And I'll say, well, I can't release because of, for whatever reason. And so we stay attached, but it's really our own attachment wounds, you know, our own anxious attachment, or our own abandonment wounds that we have, that we need to look at, like, why am I really attached? And it's hard to see when we're in the state. We don't know. Is it really fear? You know, is this fear dressed up as a reason or an excuse? That's the shadow. And we can't see our shadows. That's why they're shadows for a reason. It's in the subconscious. So we need to look at ourselves. Do I have, like, before our twin, you know, am I an anxious attachment style of love? How have I loved? You know, how have I loved? Is this conditional love? Okay, so whatever, 99% of the populace, collective love is fear-based love, conditional love. That's what we know. Okay, so the twins are here to change this. It is time. It is time for all of us here in the new earth to learn about unconditional love of everyone and everything. Okay, so we're the waymakers. Okay, we're the pioneers here as twin flames to shine the light on what this looks like. And unconditional love does not mean I'm hanging on to my twin unconditionally with this idea, because this is fear-based love, still conditional. Okay, this is me tapping into my heart space and seeing my twin's distortions and shadows only after I've seen my own. So that's why the self-work is so important. It is so important because I cannot see my twin in the reality of who he truly is. Okay, he, she, who they truly are, if I'm still in distortion and shadow. Okay, so the twin early on, and most people, or like forever, will be the mirror. Okay, they're the mirror to see our own projections. Okay, but once we awaken and once we see this and we understand this, people are still going to exist. Okay, but the triggering and the traumas are no longer impacting us in the same way. So now the twin who's been posing as a mirror to you is always coming in like a trigger, okay, but they're just a mirror. They're not doing anything to you. They're just a mirror. And so we start to feel and see your traumas. We start to feel and see your shadow. And we start to be very honest. And so anytime we feel any aversion at all, or any contraction, jealousy, hurt, sadness, separation, all of that, that's not heart. That's not heart. That's all fear. That's all ego. That's all shadow. It's all conditional. Okay, anytime we feel we need something from them, that's also conditional. I don't have it within me, therefore I seek it. I seek it. Okay, and we don't need to seek. This is why, again, you know, when you learn about twin flames, it's like, don't chase that love is within you. This is just a concept. You don't understand this at the beginning. To tell someone like, oh, just, you know, that is addicted to, let's say, smoking, oh, just don't smoke and then you'll get over it. Well, that's the whole point. It's like, I can't quit smoking. I can't just get there. You know, I can't just release my twin, because then I'd be resisting and I'm not doing the work. So that middle piece is completely missing from all twin flame experiences that I've seen out there that haven't explained what you're supposed to do. Yes, right. You're supposed to see the mirror and reflect it back to self. So this would take the energy off the twin to self. Yes. However, how do we do this? Right. So when we identify and observe that we're externally thinking with our mind that our twin is doing certain things to us, that is from a mind place, okay? That's a conceptual thing. And so we start to engage and we start to outwardly put energy. This is not the right sort of behaviors that will get us to do the transmutation. So we have to keep being very, very no mind, okay? Very, very still and observant, watching how the twin is showing us our own self. And when these triggers come through, like I said, all those aversions, all that sort of more negative energy, okay? Again, there's no such thing as bad or good. It's just polarities, okay? So we have the positive polarity, the negative, the male, the female. And so when we're experiencing sort of the more triggering stuff, like I said, the fear, the jealousy, and all that stuff, we know that we're out of alignment with the heart, okay? And so this awakening is supposed to bring the collective consciousness into heart consciousness. We have to remember how to love with our heart, okay? Not our conditional mind that's happened over time. You know, what can this person give to me? The special love. I talk about the fear-based love. You know, what can I attain? This person makes me feel special. This person protects me. This person provides XYZ. And there's nothing wrong with you believing in this sort of thing, okay? If this is what you want, that's your soul journey. And then you're strictly talking soulmate, you know? You're strictly talking conditional love. You're not talking twin flames. Twin flames are like unlike any other connection here. I'm talking about true twin flame, okay? This is not soulmate connection. This pulls within your soul a different energy. It brings you back to self. And like I said, these are the pioneers that are cracking open their heart so that they can get back to heart consciousness, okay? And you can't see the heart space and connect with the heart space unless you see the distortions, okay, and transmute those distortions in the shadow. So that takes time. But the first step is shining the beautiful light of the heart on these distortions. You know, when you're faced with the jealousy, what do? You know, you sit with this and you see it, and you try not to engage with it the same way you always do or react to it in the same way you do, okay? And this is always never about judgment, saying I'm bad for doing this, or I should have handled it that way, or that is the distortion, okay? When you say, okay, this is what I'm experiencing here. How do I take this energy and really try to transmute this within me? And it's not resisting it by saying, I don't want to be like this, okay? It's not that at all. This is seeing how you engage, sitting with this energy, not mentally, but feeling it through you, okay, feeling it through you and observing this behavior. And through time, with you accepting that that's sort of your energy, okay, through time, it starts to get depolarized. It's not as heavily charged, this energy, and you start to see through that illusion. Because once you shine your light, okay, your light of conscious awareness, your heart light, it's no longer in the shadow, okay? But if we reject it and resist it, that energy will go back in the shadow, okay? Or it will just like not want to come out, is what I should say. Once it's out of the shadow, it's out of the shadow, okay? And then it takes time to transmute. It's not an overnight. Now that I see my trauma, it's completely gone. It's like, no, first step, always. You witness, you observe it, you don't hate it, you don't judge it, you let it take as long as it takes. Just as an abused child, you don't give it a hug and say, okay, there, now just hurry up and get over this already, right? Or you don't just put them in a room and say, get over it, and then you could come out once you're acting fine. You hug the child, you talk to the child. You want to talk more about it, talk more about it. You want to let it out, let it out. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I embrace you, trauma. You know, you want to cry some more, go ahead. I'm not going to say, well, you're a crybaby, time to get over it. No. Cry, let it out, scream, be angry, do the thing, okay? And then after, the child feels better. He's not going to be crying and fearful or whatever this energetic charge was in that moment, you know, but it might build up if we stuff the child in a closet, you know, for any time the child's feeling any sort of negative way, and this builds up over time, you know, so it creates massive distortion, okay? That's just an example. So this is the inner child. The inner child needs to be seen, embraced, however long it takes. And so we deal with our traumas this way. And so as we transmute these And there'll always be egos, okay? There's very fine little egos that eventually just come up, and they're more difficult to spot. But the big ones, okay, the big ones, the big ones that are really make themselves present when you're first on this journey, you can transcend these. Okay, and this has nothing to do with your twin. Your twin is going to be however they are, specifically mirroring to you exactly the thing that you need to do at that time. Okay, and so that's why their twin is there constantly, because for me it was constant work. Every time my twin was there, it was trigger, you know, although he might have not have known I was always trigger, because for me it was like fight or flight, fight or flight. What do I do? And I was kind of like in this pattern, and I felt like he was holding me hostage, you know, I felt held hostage. And so I could have built resentment for him, like, just let me go already, you know, I just want to be free. I don't want to be here in your circus, okay, is how I felt. But it was like, it's not him, and I am free. Okay, but it took me a while to see this. But energetically, it was like I had this fear of freeze, until I realized it's like, I need to really be honest in dealing with how I deal with this, and you know, and actually sit with this energy, because he's going to constantly mirror this to me, you know, constantly. And so it kept me on this sort of path to do the work, because had he just gone, or had I blocked him out, which would have been easiest for me just to say, you know, stop, I don't need this, I would have went back to my ignorant ways. There would have been no heart healing. I wouldn't have been doing everything that I'm doing. Okay, and then once those distortions are gone, then we start to see their distortions. Okay, and we might already see their distortions in a way, but it's coming from our human self. You know, why are they in third party, or why are they being such a jerk, or why are they in addiction? Yes, these are distortions, but we don't really see their separate 5D self, their authentic self, behind a lot of these distortions. It becomes very evident to us, the part that is just the matrix playing out, you know, and so we might see this, but we might be fixated on this early, and we're not recognizing that what we're seeing is actually the distortion within self. So all of the stuff that we thought was their matrix is actually ours, dressed up, masquerading as something else. Okay, so the more distortion you're seeing here with the divine masculine, most likely you have distortion within self. Once you transmute it, you see the masculine distortion as the thing, but it's not triggering in the same way. You have compassion. You know, you have compassion. And this is what I read in my cards. It's not compassion saying put up with somebody treating you in a certain way. It's compassion to see beyond all that, because you've already transmuted that energy. You know what it's like to be human, you know, like to have these sort of things. And so you see the suffering playing out in your twin, and it's difficult, but you also see the beautiful light, you know, and you might have connected with the beautiful light, which you might have, you most likely have, which is why you're pulled to the twin, you know, like the 5D potential, like your twin's 5D self, their highest potential is what you've been pulled to, what you've been drawn to. This is the energy that is driving you and pulling you. So it doesn't really matter what the 3D twin is doing. You know, that is kind of irrelevant. It's more the 5D twin is energetically creating the triggering for you to go and do all this stuff, or at least it ignites you to do all this stuff. And then the 3D twin just keeps perpetuating whatever it needs to in order for you to say, okay, like I'm looking at self. And then the journey really becomes about self. How do I ascend? How do I give love to everyone and everything? We are all one. I could feel it. I could see it. I want love for everyone. I want to be of service, you know, from a genuine place, including my twin, you know. And so this is coming into union. You're balancing your masculine, your feminine energy, you know, and as you do this, become more at peace and more still, less traumatized and triggered. Your divine masculine slowly starts to shift. Now, my masculine's been shifting throughout the whole thing as well in the 3D. You know, he's definitely progressed, although we're still very far apart. You know, and for me, it was like, it doesn't matter where I'm at and what I think progression really looks like, because that's his own journey. You know, and so to make a judgment here wouldn't sit well with my heart. And so when I'd hear like, oh, just, you know, unplug from your twin or block them off, it was like, that to me does not feel right. Like Jesus Christ would not do this, okay? Like it doesn't come from the heart, you know? The only reason I would detach from my twin or unplug is because I'm not getting what I need. And so it's a form of I'm going to do this because I want a certain outcome from you. I need you to behave in a certain way. And it's like, I don't need him to be or do anything. I don't need him to be or do anything. You know, do I want him to get healthy and ascend and do all these things? I would think it's beautiful because he has a beautiful light to share with this world. But that's his own journey. I'm not going to manipulate his world and use his love for me to manipulate him in a way so that he can get on that path. I don't need to do this. I just need to be of love and compassion. You know, if he needs anything from me, be of love and compassion. You know, from a responsive place, not reactionary, responsive, because the heart is going to respond in that moment. And the heart never wants anything. The heart never puts conditions. The heart doesn't have any expectations. The heart is of service. You know, and so as this heart opens, the twin's heart opens at the same time because they feel the love in a way that is not conditional. Because remember, if this is your true divine twin flame, they feel it as intensely as you do. They also have traumas and blocks. And so their heart is open by your demonstration. And people in your world, their heart also opens because, again, we are the waymakers. We are the ones that are opening this sort of heart-based consciousness here. You know, for those of us who cannot connect to the heart space, for those of us who have been very much stuck in matrix and conditioning, it is something that is felt when someone enlightened, when somebody who is vibrating from this energy makes us really look at ourselves, you know. And so the twin is very tied to your energy. So do not have fear, you know, and trust that your twin is come here, you know, because at a certain point you'll know it's your twin. You just know. Like, there's no way you were triggered into all of this chaos, like things you cannot explain, from synchronicities to dreams to things that are just so wild and ridiculous that would have never happened to you in a million years in your conditional mind, your human body, seen it all, you know. And here comes this experience that you can't even explain. You just totally feel in a different way. It's totally the divine. You can't explain it. Nobody understands it. It's completely crazy. There's no explanation. You know that's your twin. Of course there's a reason this is happening. There has to be. It's not just to make you crazy. Okay, what this is doing is that is your true twin, and your true twin is also on a journey, okay, a journey of ascension, and they must also clear their distortions because they too are shining their light. They too have a purpose here, okay, and their purpose is to lead the way as well. So that's what the twins are here to do. And just to answer another question that keeps coming through, you know, you don't have to meet your twin in the physical. Okay, you don't have to. And I see this time and time again, and I always leave comments, even though I should not really get triggered, because I know these coaches are trying to help, and it's like, you must be in physical contact for there to be sort of a catalyst awakening. No. It's all energy. Energy has no form. Your twin might not even know who you exist. And that one is crazy, but that's the journey. Like I said, it's all different. I've read for many, many, many twins. Some have never met. Some only one knows about the twin. The other one is, I mean, they always know, but they're not even aware. You know, they're not even aware. And so your twin, you don't choose in this lifetime who it is and how it happens. It's happening through you, and you're experiencing this, okay, however it comes through. And it's energy. They could be 50 million thousand miles away, you know, and it doesn't mean that now this doesn't mean I'm on the journey, okay? You'll know because of all that crazy energy shit like I was talking about, okay? And you'll know because it's opening your heart space in a way. And the lessons are all different, you know? They're all completely different. And some of us are coming back onto earth, but we've already transmuted a lot of ancestral wounds. And so our ascension process is very quick. You know, I'm blessed. I feel my ascension process has been very quick, mostly because I was on the path of self, like right away self, like what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I feel I've transmuted a lot through just old soul energy, you know, but that doesn't mean anything. That just means my purpose here is maybe different. You know, my purpose maybe here is different. My timing here might be different, you know, because I know some twins that have been on for 5 years, 10 years, and they're stuck, you know, and that's it. I don't pass judgment. They're stuck for a reason. There's something they're needing to transmute and see, you know, and it's all about that self-reflection to really get honest with that and look at that thing, you know, and it could be because they have heavy ancestral distortions that are really stacked up, maybe way more than I've had to clear. You know, my biggest thing has been anxious attachment because of my needing to feel safe, like I never felt safe and secure. I was always kind of feeling like anything could happen to me, and that's not a good place to be. So that was a big one for me. But I always, felt my heart, it was always sort of in a good place, but it was shut because I was fearful. It was fearful, and I had conditioning from this lifetime. But once I opened that heart space, I saw that my distortions and my traumas, were not surmountable for me. It felt very intense, yes, but it gave me hope to say, oh, like, I have these traumas, I can transmute these, especially when you do the big ones, then you're like, it's doable. And you see the progression and you see your growth, and it's beautiful, and especially if your twin is also sort of ascending at the same time and you can see it. But if they don't, just trust your twins doing the work they need to, especially if you are, like I said, if you are, then there's no doubt that the twin's doing it, if that is your twin. To deny them or to doubt this thing, then that's either you're still needing to develop your intuition some more, or you are not with your twin. Okay, but no, if you know inside that's your twin and you're doing the work, there's no reason to doubt that your twin is going to do what they need to do for the best outcome. Okay, and this doesn't mean relationship, that's a 3D conditional thing, like the physical relationship. And so this is where we get off on a bad foot. It's like, how do I come into physical relationship? And it is a relationship, although it isn't like anything you've ever experienced, and it starts in the spiritual, and so where does the 3D go? The 3D can go any which way, really, but the union between the twins is inevitable. Okay, do not doubt it. Do not doubt it. Some twin flame teachings are like, after you've healed self or whatever, that's it. Like, no, we're experiencing this with another half for a reason. Okay, for a reason. There is union. There is coming together, however it looks, whatever form, but I do believe that the divine feminine chooses, once she's in peace, when she's balanced, she chooses because the masculine's going to come in, and it's always the divine feminine's choice too, whether she wants to or not, what she's gone through or not, to say, is this where I'm at? Do I want to stay in my marriage? Do I want to, I don't know, stay with my soulmate? Do I want to, do X, Y, Z? It is her choice, at that point in time, because she can make that choice, because she no longer has that thing that was keeping her on that crazy, intense chain to the twin, feeling the bondage, feeling the pain, feeling the suffering. That's the attachment. She's transmuted this energy, and so now she sits on her Empress throne as the divine masculine now might flip roles, and this is why the heart needs to be open, because we show compassion. We don't say, you made me suffer, you suffer. We don't say, well, now you chase me, or you have to show me, because we've already transcended that. We don't need to see anything from our twin. We just show compassion, like, I understand, because this is what I saw in me. This is what I felt suffering in me, and I do not want you to suffer. I don't want anyone to suffer. So I'm here showing you my love and compassion, however it manifests, but it has to be authentic without any expectation, no conditions. Unconditional love has no condition. Okay, and so when we hear, and I get it, and this is where I get a lot of heat, is because I know tarot readers will always say it's you got to put your boundaries and you got to get empowered. And so we can dress up. And yes, I believe there should be boundaries. Absolutely. Like I said, if you need to detox, you have to, because you have to get grounded and balanced, or else you're completely off kilter. But boundaries are masked up. That's a whole mask we put on in order to avoid, in order to not go into that trigger. Okay, that's out of fear. We're putting boundary out of fear. Okay, why am I putting this boundary? Why am I putting this boundary? Is it because my ego self is popping up here? I didn't get what I wanted, so there's a bit of resentment? Or am I really fearing the triggering, so it's easier for me to put the boundary and I won't have to see or deal with it in this moment? And that's great if you don't want to see or deal with it, but then that means you're not transmuting anything. You shouldn't have any triggers. There shouldn't be any aversions. Nobody should trigger you. Them, anyone else. They be how they be. I don't have to put a boundary, obviously, unless this person is like impeding somehow in a way here, right? But all your twin most likely is doing is energetic. And so you get very triggered by this, and you can say, well, yeah, that is impeding on my energetic thing. Okay, but what's your response to it? Is it healthy, or is it conditional triggering? Therefore, you're putting this boundary. And so my readings always will talk about, unconditional love, because I feel a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times these boundaries are masquerading as healthy. They're not. They're keeping the ego. They're not letting you transmute the pain. And this doesn't mean let them beat you, treat you bad, blah, blah, blah. This is look at it, look at it, look at it, look at it. And so when we avoid it and we stop communication and block, it's no longer the mirror in front of us. So we could carry on our day, and repeat in our mind, stories or whatever of what happened, and it's still not transmuting. But when we're in it and we're an observer, we now see it differently, and we're like, why am I feeling like this? Why am I feeling like this? Like, really all about self, why you're doing what you're doing, and being very honest here, okay? And not automatically putting up a barrier or a boundary because we don't want to experience that. It doesn't matter what you want. Of course we want easy. Of course we want the conditional thing. That's what we're used to. That's what we know. This isn't what you chose. You chose this twin flame journey for a reason. This is crazy for a reason. It's happening for a reason. And once you transmute all this stuff, it's beautiful. It's freeing. It's unlike anyone else you probably have experienced in your world, because you no longer have the conditional matrix mind. You're a beautiful, peaceful soul. This is why it's happening, and yes, relationships can be easy. It doesn't have to be all this crazy energy work, but then that's a soulmate. Then you want a soulmate, you want a roof over your head, or maybe you want physical sex or whatever. That's not the twin flame. Go ahead. Be in the matrix. Be in those conditional fear-based love, special kind of love. Everyone has this, parents, your grandparents, and they've been married for 40 years. Great. Good. I see the conditionals left, right, and center. I see the triggers and the egos and the drama. See it, see it, see it. This is why there's so much crazy, okay? So we're here. Crack open the heart. Love from heart-based consciousness. It's love unlike you've never felt before. It has nothing to do with whether they're physical or not. You come into balance and union. Your twin comes into balance and union. You and your twin do the work of what it is you're supposed to do, okay? And never have pressure that you should be doing X, Y, Z. It's going to come. It has to come the minute you peel back the distortion. Okay, that's all you need to be aware of. I'm peeling back distortion, and not even pressure to do this. It's like, just be aware. It shouldn't be a lot of effort. It might be difficult at first because our mind isn't used to this. Our mind isn't used to this. So we just keep putting ourselves there. Like, what exactly am I thinking right now? Especially at the beginning, it's like really intrusive thoughts of our twin, like constantly. And it's hard to differentiate their energy from ours. Very difficult. Okay, so I get that. Allow yourself time to go through that. Because you'll get there. It's suffering, and I don't like people in that state, and this is why I do these readings, to help those people. What's your energy? What's theirs? And now you have some sort of, okay, I understand, when you can stand on your intuition feet again. You don't need me when you're there, but sometimes you need me, or whoever you're tapping into. And this is why I don't poo-poo tarot. It's like, yeah, we need to see. And it's like this for a reason. We get blinded by our twin's energy for a reason, to learn our intuition. And sometimes to tap into the intuition is to be able to connect to the divine, however it is, through tarot or through prayer or through meditation. It doesn't have to be a solo thing. I can connect and channel the divine for you. There's no shame in that. Maybe you don't know how to read tarot. Okay, or maybe if you did, you couldn't, I can't read tarot for myself for the life of me. Okay, I could try, but I can't make sense of it. I can't, it just doesn't make sense. I'll pray, but there's times in this twin flame journey where I'm completely blind, and I'm just totally going by what I think is intuition sometimes, and then I find out it was my ego or my shadow. But then lessons learned. So what you need to do is exactly what you're doing, but don't think that it's external seeking. Don't feel like your twin is the answer. It's all transmutation of energy. It's all the energy within you and burning off what is ego, okay? And we really got to question, is it ego? Is it ego that even if it's dressed up good, I'm doing this for the best thing. Best for who? Like, that's the thing. There's no such thing as good ego, okay? Ego is ego. We burn it all off in order to just be in the I am knowing, complete consciousness, like completely open, completely open, no distortion at all, okay? Because those egos, the ones that are good, could be the worst kind. Knowing what others want, knowing what the love is, pride, that type of stuff. No. So we have to be very humble, and we have to be very honest, and we have to look at what we're doing and not dress it up as empowered or whatever, because there's something behind this, which is what we need to look at and what we need to burn or transmute. Okay, welcome it, hug it, embrace it, not judge it, and then transmute it. And then you're really empowered. Okay, and yes, we want to get empowered by peace. We want to get empowered by compassion. We got to get empowered by being around the triggers and not to be reactionary. Okay, so this is what I have. I hope this helped you guys. I love you, and I'll make another video, most likely, seeing what you guys need to hear, and I might do another reading later today. We'll see. I love you guys very much, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye.